Just learning today a little bit about manipulation, about persuasion, which really kind of mean the same thing. And there's a lot of baggage that goes along with this idea of manipulation. But I was thinking about the art, let's say, of manipulation or persuasion, if you like, whatever you want to call it, whatever feels better to you. Well, there's one person that you really need to manipulate above all else if you are to have a good life, and that is yourself. So I was thinking it's very similar to if you have, because I was learning about you have kind of multiple selves. You have a conscious mind and you have an unconscious mind, and it's kind of like your unconscious mind is it's like if you have an idiot boss. If like the employee is the smart one and the boss is the stupid one. Kind of like if you think about Jim and Michael from The Office, right? Where the boss is the one that gets to make the decisions, but he's an idiot, and the smart one doesn't get to make any decisions. And so if he wants to get his way, if the smart one wants to get his way, which he should, right? I mean, the smarter person should, all else equal, more it would be better off if the smarter person got his way, right? So it's kind of like that with the unconscious and the conscious mind. The conscious mind is the smart one. The unconscious mind is dumb. The unconscious mind is, it's not, when I say dumb, I don't mean it's useless, but it's tuned to a world that no longer exists. Like it's optimized for a very primitive environment where we all live in small tribes and we have to keep each other safe, or we're always at risk of dying. There's predators out there, we could die of hunger, etc. Like in modern society we don't really have to worry about any of that stuff. And the actual environment is very different than the environment that our unconscious mind is assuming or is working with. So the conscious mind, but on the other hand, the unconscious mind is the one that has all the power, right? If the conscious mind and the unconscious mind are at odds with each other, like they disagree with each other, the unconscious will win pretty much all the time, because the unconscious mind is closer to the body. The unconscious mind has more control over the body. So that's why I'm saying the unconscious mind is like the idiot boss. It doesn't know much. It's not up to date on the situation. It has a hard time adapting to modern society, but it's the one that has all the power. So if you think about, like, you want to go and speak on stage, or you want to talk to somebody, you want to negotiate with somebody, you want to make a sale or something, and your unconscious feels nervous because your unconscious is tuned to a time where if you say or do the wrong thing, you risk getting kicked out of the tribe, and then if you get kicked out of the tribe, then you're on your own and you're isolated and you're probably going to starve to death. And so the unconscious part of you is very afraid of messing up, and so you might be very nervous, whereas the conscious part of you realizes that there's really not much to lose at all. If you mess it up, then really no big deal. You're not going to starve, you're not going to get kicked out of the tribe, you're probably nothing bad's going to happen at all. Your conscious recognizes that, and so your conscious and your unconscious are kind of arguing back and forth with each other. And the if they are if you can't get them aligned, then the unconscious is going to win. And so what you got to do essentially is you got to trick the unconscious. You have to manipulate the unconscious. And so what I was learning about today is how to manipulate people using their unconscious drives, essentially, the things that their unconscious responds to, because the unconscious is the boss. The unconscious is the decision maker, which, when you're talking in sales terms, like, it makes sense to talk to the decision maker, not the low-level employee, which is what the conscious is. So you got to do that with yourself too. So if you want to coax yourself into action, you have to find some way to manipulate the unconscious, which is your boss. And so there's one way that I did just recently that I learned that if you want to be excited about going after some sort of goal, then explaining the goal in words or writing the goal in words is not very effective, because words are the language of the conscious. You want to get to the unconscious, and what works better for the unconscious is images, sensory inputs. And so if you will create a vision board, then that'll work better for talking to the unconscious mind and inciting or motivating the unconscious mind to action. You're showing these things that are attractive to the unconscious mind, and then to make it better, you, rather than just having a static vision board, you have on a laptop screen or a TV screen or something, you have images that change every once in a while. So you have a bunch of images that are appealing to your unconscious. Well, should be appealing to your conscious and your unconscious at the same time. Ideally, you get them on the same page, and it's constantly switching them, because if you have just one static image or one poster of a bunch of static images, it's always the same. And your unconscious mind essentially it will ignore things that are the same in your environment that don't change. But if you have something that's constantly changing pictures, such as on a computer screen or a TV screen, then you can have the pictures rotating, and then it will catch your attention because it's changing, because it's not the same thing in your environment that your unconscious will ignore. So that's what I've done, and I am working on incorporating this more into my self-motivation. So like learning to motivate the dumb idiot boss that is my unconscious mind. I feel a little bit bad about insulting my own unconscious, because it's very good for a lot of things, and in a lot of ways actually it's a lot smarter than the conscious mind. So I'm generalizing. I mean, the unconscious mind can keep my heart beating at exactly the right cadence, and keep my breathing, and keep my skin conductance, and like there's all these things that it controls which my conscious mind could not possibly do. So when I say dumb, I mean in a very narrow domain. Like I'm very grateful for my conscious mind or my unconscious mind, and it's just like there's a few things that the conscious does better than the subconscious, where the conscious should get its way. So we'll see how it works, but it makes a lot of sense to me, and I have high hopes.